First of all, a question on the reduction of the pace of purchases from 80 to 60 billions per month. Could you tell us why you felt necessary to ensure this second option, this more sustained market presence? And so what was the rationale for this decision? And the second one is, you said that, I mean, as you just said, as to the extent necessary, it will be possible to purchase below the deposit rate. The fact that the committees still have to study this, does it mean that this is not immediately an option? And what may be the conditions to make it necessary under, are there going to be caveats? Are there going to be some sort of limitations in doing that? I mean, what sort of instructions will you give to the committees? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, on your first question, first let me say that we have to go back to March 2016, when we upsized our program from 60 to 80. And at that time, the outlook for a return, for a sustained return to our inflation objective was much darker. Deflation risks were not immaterial at that time. So at this point in time, we basically judged that the outlook as far as the sustained return to our inflation objective is not very different from what it was at the beginning of the program when it was scaled to 60. And more specifically, the risk of deflation has largely disappeared. However, uncertainty prevails. Uncertainty prevails everywhere. And we certainly see and assess the progress of the overall situation at the end of 2017. But since uncertainty prevails everywhere, that's the reason for this sentence in the introductory statement that says, if in the meantime, the outlook becomes less favorable, or if financing conditions become inconsistent with further progress towards a sustained adjustment of the path of inflation, the Governing Council intends to increase the program in terms of size and/or duration. Now, this means two things. First of all, the Governing Council is acting in a pragmatic and flexible way to cope with risks that may materialize in this period of time. Second, that there is no question about tapering. Tapering has not been discussed today. Now, on the second point, I have to refer to the committee's work on that point. As I said, this is an option, not a necessity, and the committees will assess when it should become so, when and if it should become so. As you know, the amounts of purchases and the maturities of purchases do depend on the current constellation of rates. And as this changes, so it changes the necessity to buy certain maturities rather than others.